my first time visiting King's Dominion, and I really liked it a lot. It was really, really pretty. It was a good-sized park, and there were a lot of things to do there. Twisted Timbers was my first RMC roller coaster, and it was phenomenal. It is definitely one of the top 5 roller coasters that I've ever ridden, and I think it was the absolute best roller coaster of the entire trip, both parks combined. Intimidator 305 was the tallest and fastest roller coaster that we've ever ridden, and it was really intimidating, it was really intense, and it was really fun. And I'd like to try it further in the back next time because we sat in the front row, and I think it would be a much different ride further back. I'd like to give it a try. The Flight of Fear was actually my second favorite roller coaster, and you can't really see anything of it because it's inside this building, so it's completely indoors. I liked it a lot more than I expected. It was like alien themed, space mountain-esque, rock and roller coaster-esque. It had a launch. It was really cool. The backlot stunt coaster was another surprise for me because it didn't look like very much, but it was actually really, really fun. It was another one that had a launch that I wasn't expecting. It went indoors, it went outdoors, and I really, really liked it. So Twisted Timbers, Intimidator 305, Flight of Fear, and the backlot stunt coaster were definitely my top 4 coasters at King's Dominion. Everything else was great, but nothing else that I really wanted to jump right on and ride again. Anaconda was your basic older looping coaster. Nothing to really brag about. They did have a really nice water effect on it though. Dominator was a giant floorless coaster, the biggest one that I've ever ridden. It had a really, really big loop, and it was fun, but it definitely didn't feel as special as those other coasters I mentioned earlier. Both wooden roller coasters were only okay. The Grizzly is a figure-8 coaster that, was fine. And Racer 75 was a racing coaster, but it was the most simple out and back coaster that I've ever ridden in my life. It literally just went out and back. Not very complicated, I guess revolutionary for the time. Avalanche was my first bobsled coaster. It wasn't very crazy. It was a good family ride, and it had its moments of intensity. Apple Zapple was actually the best Wild Mouse I've ever ridden. It was really smooth, it was really roomy and comfortable. It was much better than Hershey Park's Wild Mouse. Hershey's Wild Mouse is really tight and whippy and can be uncomfortable, so this was a refreshing change of pace. Unfortunately, one roller coaster wasn't open. Volcano apparently has been down for a while. Disappointing, but it'll definitely be one of the first rides we hit if we ever go back. There were lots of really great family rides, especially the Shenandoah Lumber Company Flume and Boo Blasters on Boo Hill. The Windseeker was really awesome. I had never ridden anything like this before. It goes up like 300 feet in the air. The only thing that was annoying was it took forever to load. I don't know what they were doing, but it took way too long to load and unload people. Something that was really different was the Eiffel Tower Observatory. It was really cool to take the elevator up. That was about 300 or so feet as well, and we got to see everything in the park, and I really, really enjoyed that. And finally, the food. It was fine. It wasn't amazing. It was typical amusement park food. We had these burgers for lunch and then Panda Express for dinner, which was good. But it was, nothing too special. Colonial Williamsburg was so fun. I had such a good time there. It was something I had wanted to do since I was a little girl. It was really awesome and immersive. We didn't get to do half of what was there. It was so much bigger than I anticipated. I kind of just thought you just walked along one street and everything was there, and it wasn't like that at all. There were all these different pathways and alleys and so many different places to go. We didn't even get to do half of what was there. I do wish some things could have been clearer about, where to go, what was open, where and when you could tour certain places. We did pay an admission fee, which got us into just about everything, but there was even some things where it seemed to be even extra money or extra tickets. Some of that stuff wasn't very, very clear. Most of the actors were very, very good. Some stayed better in character than others. I was a little disappointed. Sometimes they talk about vacuuming or modern things, and I was a little disappointed. Sometimes they weren't as in character as I thought they were going to be. But overall, Williamsburg was great. I'm so glad we got to go and I finally got to see this. I've always wanted to since I was a little girl. We definitely like to go back someday with more of a plan, and definitely we'd like to see everything that we missed. And finally, Busch Gardens Williamsburg. I actually liked it better than King's Dominion. I just thought the overall roller coaster collection was stronger at Busch Gardens. I also thought the layout was a lot better. I liked how you had to kind of walk around all the sections in order and really complete the rides in each section before you moved on. I thought the theming was beautiful and immersive. It's the most beautiful theme park in the world, and a theme to all the European countries. It was just gorgeous. And now on to the roller coasters. My favorite roller coaster was Griffon in the France section. It's a B&M dive coaster. It was my first dive coaster ever. This is the only one we rode twice, and it was just awesome and fun. I love the B&Ms. I think they're so great. Bolton in the Oktoberfest section was so cool. For some reason, I didn't really know exactly what this coaster was like, except that it was really famous. I was totally surprised by the fact that it was inside and outside. They had launches, special effects, and even this drop track effect that just shocked me. Totally didn't see that coming. This was the only coaster that we waited for all day. It said 30 minutes, but it actually ended up, I think, being more like 40-45 minutes. And I really wish we re-rode this one because it was definitely my second favorite coaster. The two coasters in the Italy section were both really fun. Apollo's Chariot is really smooth and it's a hyper coaster, and Tempesto is very different from that. It's kind of crazy. It goes backwards and forwards. Kind of reminded me of a Wicked Twister, but more complex. Both very, very enjoyable coasters. Invader is a nice, new, smooth wooden roller coaster in the New France section. It was a really nice coaster. Definitely a good one for first-timers. It's more of a family coaster. Very fun, though. Alpengeist is another B&M coaster, a suspended coaster. It's a lot like the Great Bear at Hershey Park, my home park, and it was really, really great. I just liked it. It had a skiing theme. The theme was really to the max, and it was fun. Alpengeist is located in the Germany section of the park. And finally, there's the Loch Ness Monster, of course, in the Scotland section, which I liked a lot more than I thought I would, actually. It just turned 40 years old this year, and it's very reminiscent of the Super Duper Looper at Hershey Park, except much more complex. It had 2 interlocking loops and an indoor section, like a cave section, that was really, really cool. I enjoyed this coaster very much. Just to mention a couple of the non-coasters, the Battle of Ire was my very first virtual reality ride. It was really cool, really immersive. I did get just a little bit nauseous. I think it might have been because, I have a child-sized head, and even the child-sized headgear didn't really fit me. It was still loose. So I kind of had to hold it in place. So maybe that had something to do with it. But yeah, I was really happy with this ride, surprisingly, actually. I wasn't sure if I'd like it, and I did. Escape from Pompeii was a really cool shoot-the-chutes ride that had fire effects and everything. Actually, that was pretty much the scariest thing I encountered this whole vacation, was the fire effects. I liked that you didn't get absolutely soaking wet. It was just refreshing, which was great on a 90-degree day like it was that day. I wanted to mention Le Scoot, the really fun sawmill-themed log flume. It was really cool in that building. A saw was coming at you and an axe was coming at you right before the last drop. It was a blast. I love a good log flume, and I love the theming. Overall, we had a great time on our Virginia vacation, visiting 3 places we had never visited before: King's Dominion, Colonial Williamsburg, and Busch Gardens, Williamsburg. We definitely would like to go back someday and definitely take our daughter Rachel. I hope you guys liked this trip review and look forward to more amusement and theme park videos in the future.